Hello and welcome back to another video on Her Princess Nook. Today I'm going to be giving you some tips to have a shoujo girl evening routine. I first start off with writing a to-do list for tomorrow. It helps me prepare for the next day, and when the next day rolls around, I don't have to think about, okay, what am I doing? I would have planned it out beforehand. So I would say, okay, I'm going to wake up, I'm going to make my bed, I'm going to do my laundry, I'm going to do my homework, I'm going to do my skincare, I'm going to read a book. I'll sort all of this out the day before so that when a new day rolls around, I'm able to start straight away. So when making my to-do list, I actually like to use Notion and I prefer to do it digitally. So I've created something called the Magical Girl Diaries, and it's inspired by magical girls like Princess Precure and Watcher Primagi. And as you can see, I have different ones. So I have my Shoujo Diary or the Magical Girl Diaries, and each week is divided into episodes. So episode 1 is week 1, episode 2 is week 2, and throughout that I would have the date, and then I'd have my to-do list. So I'll say, okay, the first thing I'm going to do is like watch an anime or complete my homework, etc., etc. And it's just a fun and inventive way of making your diary reminiscent of a shoujo anime. Then I like to clean my environment. I always like it when I wake up in the morning and the house is clean. So before I go to bed, I'll make sure I've hoovered the floor, I've washed the dishes, I've made my bed, just to make sure everywhere is nice and tidy and you can wake up to a clean house. After cleaning up, it's time to do some skincare. I'm very basic because I just use ordinary washing soap and then I moisturize with some sunscreen. I think when it comes to skincare, the simpler the better. When I was a younger teenager, I suffered with quite a lot of acne, and I use all these different products. I use Proactive, I use from Bacta. I just use any product I can get my hands on, and I honestly think it just made my skin worse. I found out my skin cleared up naturally and by itself by just using ordinary washing soap and then putting a bit of sunscreen and just leaving it there. Afterwards, I like to change into some cute comfy pajamas, such as like a night dress or this cute one with teddy bears. I also found one with oranges on them on Pinterest, which I think are really cute as well. The weather is getting colder, so I like to make myself a nice hot drink with some marshmallows. I usually like hot chocolate, but I also like to drink tea as well, and using evaporated milk in your tea will make it taste much, much nicer. At the end of the day, I like to relax with a TV show, and I have a bunch of different shows that I like to watch. I know it would be easy to just recommend a bunch of shoujo animes, and I have done. If you watch my Shoujo Girl study method, I recommended quite a lot of shoujo animes there. So I thought I'd recommend some C-dramas actually, that to me definitely have those shoujo vibes. The first is Supervisor Husband, and this is a mini C-drama about a girl who enters the world of a comic. I really think mini C-dramas are a great way to get into C-dramas without being too overwhelmed, because most C-dramas have like 40 episodes, 50, 60, 80 episodes even, and they can be a little bit intimidating. But starting with these mini C-dramas where the episodes are about 15 to 20 minutes and they're about like, I don't know, 24 episodes, they're really quick to watch, they're so much fun, and they have a fast-paced storyline. Another C-drama I like to watch is called Beauty Strategy. This is a mini C-drama. One of the princes has white hair. We know she's not going to end up with a prince with a white hair. Like, I already knew. When I started it, I already knew the prince with the white hair is not going to be the main lead. But still, there's a prince with white hair. It's a cute mini C-drama. Lots of fun to watch and perfect to unwind at the end of the day. I'm sure by watching a few mini C-dramas, you'll probably be feeling ready to start a longer one. So I then recommend The Double. This one is wildly popular, lots of people love it. It's a revenge story. I don't want to spoil too much, but it's basically a revenge story and she's getting back at the people who have wronged her. And it's kind of like a double revenge story because she's getting back on not only the people who have wronged her, but the people, she kind of assumes the identity of someone else, and she's getting her own back at the people who have wronged the person's identity that she's assuming, if that makes sense. But yeah, it's really, really good. It's on Netflix. It's 40 episodes, but they definitely do fly by. I also will be making a video giving you guys a guide to period dramas, because period dramas are my favorite type of show to watch. So I'll kind of go into a bit more depth about, where to start with period dramas, the best C dramas to start with, the best K dramas, etc. But that'll be later. But I think The Double is a great one to pick up because it's a new one from this year. Amazing cinematography, amazing acting as well, and it has the lead from Story of Yangtze Palace. Okay, so for shoujo anime, I'm gonna recommend Kagake Shoujo. This is a fantastic anime. It's about these two main characters who join a theater school for girls. And it's amazing. Like there's so much culture and history there because it's based on the Takarazuka revue troupe, and they basically kind of did an anime version of it. It's not exactly the same, but you can tell that it was inspired by them. It was such a lovely, I was gonna say drama, lovely anime. It completely blew me away. And there was one episode where I cried. I think it was episode 3 or 4. Oh my goodness! It's a quick 12 episode anime, so it's not gonna take you like 100 years to watch it. But I definitely recommend watching it. And it also has a manga as well, so if you want to carry on reading, you can. And then for maybe one of my all-time favorite animes ever is Princess Precure. It's about a girl named Haruka, and she wants to be a princess. Like literally, her dream is to be a princess. It's funny because everyone else's dream is like, I want to be a tennis player, I want to be a model, I want to work for my dad's company, and she's like, I want to be a princess. And then they come to her, and then like these animals come to her, and they're like, well, do you want to be a magical girl instead? And she was like, okay, like, do I get to wear a dress? No, but honestly, it's so cute. It's so amazing. The fights are good. I was actually blown away by how much like there's an actual proper plot in this. Like I just thought it would be like, okay, let's just fight some cute monsters, but like there's an actual plot going on. There was an amazing plot twist that I was just so shocked and surprised by. It breaks it. It's not how some episodes are like, okay, there's a monster of the week. Like sometimes it breaks that trajectory and there's an actual like episodes that flow on from each other and like big overarching plots that they need to deal with. So I definitely think it's one that everyone should watch at one point in their lives. But yeah, Princess Precure is beautiful. And I'm just gonna throw in Watcha Premaji because this is another anime that I really, really love. Again, it kind of blew me away because I came in with very low expectations when I started watching Watcha Premaji because I was like, okay, they're these magical girls who are pre-Magi superstars, so they're basically like pop stars, but like it's got like interwoven with magic and stuff. And I thought, okay, just gonna be a simple plot. It has such a complex plot, and they're fighting like corporations, and they're also trying to sing music, and they're also there's just so much that goes into it. I don't want to spoil any of it for you, but I will say that this show, there's more to it than meets the eye. I'll definitely say that, and I definitely think it's one to watch as well. At the end of the day, I always like to cuddle up with a book, and recently I read The Bird and the Sword by Amy Harmon. This was an incredible fantasy romance. Absolutely incredible. Blew me away. I was in a really low-key kind of like a bad book slump. I don't know why I was in a book slump. I can't remember. I think I had DNF'd too many books. But yeah, I was like, okay, let me just pick this up because I wanna be reading again. It was so good. It was so good. The romance in this was one of the best romances I've ever read. I finally realized why, I'm kind of shaky when it comes to romance is the fact that if I don't like the male lead in a book, I won't be able to believe their romance. Like if the male lead is trifling, if there's something like medically wrong with him, I'm not going to be able to enjoy the book. But if I actually like the male lead, I will enjoy their romance. And I thought the male lead in this book was just perfect. Like he was perfect, honestly. I mean, obviously not perfect. He has flaws, but he was basically perfect. I loved him. There's a second book in this. Honestly, I wouldn't read it. I didn't really like the second book. But the first book works well as a standalone. Like, it's basically a standalone because the second book follows different characters. And I didn't really like the romance in the second book. But the first book, perfect. Please read it. The second book is Breeze Spells and Bridegrooms. I also read this recently. I have my October reading wrap-up coming very soon. Okay, it's coming. There are a lot of videos coming. I'm sorry for the 2 week break, but I'm gonna get back on my grind. But yeah, Breed Spells and Bridegrooms is such a lovely, cozy fantasy. Basically, these two guys, they end up in a arranged marriage, or like a fake marriage, but like they do end up having to actually get married. You'll find out why. There's this whole convoluted reason why that, like, it makes sense in the context of the story. There's fairies and there's humans and there's magic, and it is really cozy and just a really fun romance. And I'll just throw in some all-time faves. The Cool Prince trilogy. If you haven't read it, you should. It's perfect. I just think it's a great read about fairies. And honestly, I've not really been able to read another fairy book like this. Like, I picked up this one book called A Mist, Clouds and Bones by Ella Fields, because they said, oh, this is basically like the Cruel Prince. But I don't know, I didn't like it. I think the Cruel Prince is very unique and it can't be emulated. And then I have maybe one of my all-time favorite books ever, The Blue Castle by Ella Montgomery. Ella Montgomery wrote Anne with an E, and she also wrote The Blue Castle. This is just beautiful. I don't even want to tell you the plot because I want you to just go in blind. Go in blind. It is such a beautiful journey. Okay, it's a historical romance. We follow Valerie, and stuff happens to Valerie. Okay, and Valerie deals with it, and she deals with it in the best way possible. So funny, so lovely, and a perfect atmospheric read to read at nighttime. Thank you so much for watching. I hope I've helped inspire you to have your own shoujo girl evening routine, which is both productive and peaceful as well. Please let me know if you try out any of these tips, and if you have any other tips for me as well. Have a lovely day.